Hey guys, welcome to the Melanin United. On this video, we're going to talk about one of the biggest sellouts, one of the biggest coons in the black world, in the world, but for our people. This guy, Cyril Ramaphosa, the South African president, this guy, he's such a big sellout, always running, always smiling around these white folks, running with them, just so happy to be around them and just make them proud. Never want to disappoint them, huh? Cyril does whatever they want at the expense of his people in South Africa. A lot of violence going in South Africa, poverty, xenophobic attacks, and Cyril and them are not doing nothing because these white folks are the ones doing it, and Cyril's allowing it to happen. Like, what happened today? Was it yesterday or today? Cyril just came to the U.S. to meet President Biden, Jim Crow Joe, racist ass president of the U.S., right? Look at them smiling, so happy. Cyril goes there. They tell him what to do. Like, he loves these people, but he gets told what to do when they're having their private discussions. Cause he gets called to America, he goes there. He gets called to the UK, he goes there. He gets called to France, he goes there. If he gets called to Germany, he'll go there. Because the US, the UK, and now France and Germany are invested in South Africa's energy. They're trying to steal as much as they can because they know very soon, right now, and they're trying to dismantle the EFF. They know the EFF is gonna be South African president in 2024. Julius Malema, our brother, Pan-African, a strong revolutionary leader, you know, and he's gonna, bring South Africa back to peace and do cooperations with African nations and black nations, and he knows the strength of our unity. Cyril, he went to the U.S. and they made plans to go steal more energy from South Africa. That's one. They made plans because the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken of the U.S. went to South Africa probably I want to say 3 weeks ago. He was in South Africa because he went there as soon as a week ago. Before that, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov went to South Africa, right? But then the U.S. Secretary went there a week after, to talk about, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, give us the energy and give the UK the energy and all that type of stuff. And the US Army went there recently to go train with South Africa. What's that about? That's because Cyril is under investigation for this Fala scandal. He's supposed to be already hit with charges, stepping down for president and even being in jail. Like, that's the thing. And these people are trying to protect him. The US is trying to protect him, these white folks. The European Union is trying to protect them. UK is trying to protect them. France, Germany, because Julius Malema said soon there'll be a national shutdown, and that means all these corporations, all these white corporations will shut down, and there's gonna be some violence. A lot of white people will probably be in the receiving end because they don't want to do anything. They don't want to make this society equal, even though they're 10% of South Africans or 9%, and the other 85-90% are black. But they want to keep 80% of the wealth, 80% of the mines, 80% of everything, They don't want to share. And this big sellout, one of the biggest sellouts on the planet, he lets it happen. Cyril, oh my God. So yeah, all these like I'm telling you right now, the US, the UK, and the European Union are making plans on how do we stop the EFF in South Africa. How do we stop them from taking Cyril out of staying president, because he's under investigation, and all the South African institutions that's corrupt because he pays them and they're getting paid by the Europeans, like Oppenheimers and those families that run South Africa, these white families. So they pay these institutions, they pay Cyril to make sure to keep the laws like that and to make sure energy keeps going into companies like Eskom, and they're trying to dismantle Eskom so then they can take it from state rights, state ownership, and then privatize it and give it back to those white people, even though they still run it right now. So and also they're getting help from the British, the Americans, and I'm talking about the white Americans, of course. So the British, the Americans, and Germany, France, all of them are involved to take some more energy because they need it now. Ever since more than ever, ever since that Russia Ukraine thing, right? Winter's coming in the Western world. They need it for heating up homes, cooling homes, everything like that, right? So they need the energy. And South Africa has so much resources. Not only has a lot of mineral resources, but it has like a lot of gas, a lot of energy. So that's why South Africa is one of those countries that they do not. They're gonna try everything to try to hold South Africa with an iron grip. They don't want to give it so much diamonds, everything in South Africa. And that ANC party is controlled by white people. And then there's three parties in South Africa: the ANC, which is the one that this sellout is the leader of, so-called leader, puppet. The ANC. There's the DA, which has that white guy, but that obviously controlled by white people too. And then the EFF, which is Julius Malema, which is the party for us, and they fear. It's not only South African, the elites fear the EFF and Julius Malema. All around the Western world, the U.S., the British, all of them. Then they're trying their best right now. They're making plans. That's why Cyril goes to America and goes there, because they're making plans. How do we destabilize the EFF to stop them from taking you down from being president, from them becoming the next party rulers of the country? How are we going to do that? We got to keep making crisis. We got to keep the xenophobic attack and rhetoric going. You know what I mean? Like, they want to keep all this spew and hate. Like, they're the ones that instigate all this. Like, oh my God, Zimbabweans and all the people are coming in our countries and stealing our resources and fundings, when the people in South Africa are not even getting nearly as much funding as they should be getting. A lot of poverty and homelessness, like, that shouldn't be happening like that. So then they want to use that as an excuse of why the ANC is doing such a horrible job, why Cyril is doing such a horrible job to make South Africa good. So they use that. They use the xenophobic attacks, which they instigate. They use they try they, they try to keep taking Julius Malema to court for hate speech against the Boers, which is the white group, right? They keep trying to take him, but he ain't saying nothing wrong. He's saying the truth, you know, history, everything. So they try to they try to they try to destabilize the country by the xenophobic attacks, pushing that narrative, pushing that rhetoric. So then, people can keep fighting. Different black countries ethnic groups can keep fighting, right? They use that, the xenophobic. They use Julius Malema and, like, oh, he hates white people and he's violent, and they want to use, what's it called? We got to stop terrorism attack that's happening in Mozambique that they created, to getting into South Africa and all that. Like, these people, that's their plan. They use all these narratives, and they keep coming up with plans to destabilize South Africa. So, and they want to corrupt it, so then the EFF does not become president. They want to, because there's too much energy in South Africa, and they need that energy. They don't want no one to have it. They hate the fact that South Africa works with Russia and China. So they try to sway that influence all towards them. So many countries are operating, like, work with South Africa, like, though, so many of those, quote unquote superpowers. America, the UK really works with them. You got Russia, China, and Germany's there, even France. Like, so yeah, those three European superpowers, Germany, France, UK, is in South Africa, like, and they're interfering in their internal affairs, and the US. So you see, those are all the quote unquote European superpowers right there. So when you get them all focusing in that one country like that, of course you're gonna see the sellout. You're gonna see one of the biggest sellouts in the world smiling with them, acting like, oh, our trading and economic and trades together are all fair, equal. When you know for a fact, you go there, you get yelled at, you get told what to do this, do that. Even the former president of the ANC, Jacob Zuma, he got told what to do so bad, because there's these white families in South Africa that run it, right? The Minells, the Ruperts, and the Oppenheimer, especially, right? So Jacob Zuma wanted to do something, and then one of the white family, I think the Ruperts, Johan Rupert said to Jacob Zuma, he threatened him. He said basically, if you do this, we will pull out all this economic infrastructure and all this to South Africa and all this type of, like he threatened Jacob Zuma, and Zuma got scared, and then he keeps doing what they want him to do. But then he eventually got caught in his corruption. The EFF took him down, and that's what's gonna happen to Cyril. Like, you keep doing what you're doing for these white folks, and you'll see. Like, they think consequences won't come to them. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, for sure, consequences are gonna come. And the EFF, it's a matter of time. The EFF, the people of South Africa, is gonna get militant. They're becoming militant, and military confrontation is gonna happen there. I know for a fact they're gonna try to bring the U.S. Army or have some U.S. Army in South Africa. Who knows? They could even be a couple U.S. Army members there right now. They're gonna try to bring the UK Army or something because the EFF and the poor people in South Africa had enough. Had enough because their land has been stolen and not given. They're getting starved, poverty, and they're instigating. These white governments and these white families in South Africa are instigating the xenophobic attack, divide and conquer like they always do. All this is to try to stop the EFF from becoming president, and then equally giving the people what they deserve in South Africa, not allowing these Western corporations, these white corporations, just steal all the energy and the split and give them to the UK, to this America, to France, to Germany. No, that's not gonna work. So that's what they're really worried about, and that's what this sellout goes around the Western world and getting told what to do this next, implement this and implement that. Like, no, that's not flying. Like, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Cyril gets taken out that president role and gets put into jail, and then the EFF becomes president, and then you'll see South Africa change. There's a couple nations in Africa that if it changes and they're like revolutionary, it's gonna be like you're just gonna see like a lot of other countries start getting free for real, economically free, right? South Africa is one of those countries, one of those superpowers or super giants in Africa that basically superpower that has a lot of those influence. You got like South Africa, they do now, because then a domino effect can happen on those other African countries, South Africa or like Nigeria. If that happens, we all know they try to hold that. The Congo, they don't want that. Sudan, there's some countries they try to hold more than others, but of course they overall they don't want none of us free. They don't want us to work with each other. So, yeah, we gotta worry about coons like this, sellouts like this, and he's for sure in my at least my 5-10 biggest sellouts for our people, like our politicians around the world, our governments around the world. That includes all the black governments, elected officials around the world. He's right up there. This guy is right up there. Like, even look at his smile. Look at his smile when he goes and sees these people. So happy. So happy to be a slave and do whatever they want you to do. It's disgusting. Thanks, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe.